Welcome to the Aligned Feminine.
Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Aligned Feminine with your favorite spiritual besties.
It's your girls, Taylor,
And Sammy.
and we're here to help you have a deeper relationship with yourself, your health, and your spirituality to transform and expand your life, baby. And today we are talking about that word that is just so hard to spell for me for whatever fucking reason. I don't know if y'all know the whole I before E except after C. This is probably just a Taylor thing, a Taylor issue. But we are talking about receiving today and what it means to receive love, receive good energy, receive even like gifts and help from people and advice and stuff like that. So, the energy behind it and what it actually is doing to impact our life, and maybe like having a blockage in that way, what it's doing to negatively affect your life. So, we are going to be receiving advice from one another so you guys can receive it from us.
I love it. Oh my goodness. And this really is just such a great episode for us to do because at the end of the day, when we're talking about really having a deep relationship with yourself, having a deeper relationship with your health and spirituality, wanting to transform and expand and, have that dream life. You need to be open to receiving that. You need to feel worthy enough for that. And I remember that me and my dad were having a conversation and he told me that he feels like the number one lesson that us humans are learning on this planet, on this earth, is how to receive and is how to feel worthy of having everything that they really want and having their desires. Because you hear all the time with manifestation, it's like, well, if you have these desires, then these desires want you. Like, if you are wanting to expand and grow your business, then your business wants to expand too. If you want to have a soulmate relationship, your soulmate is looking for you too. But the key piece that I feel like can lead us to self-sabotage, to not actually allow that fully into our lives, is when we're not comfortable receiving. And this can be because of so many different reasons. Maybe when you were a kid, it was like, well, you were taught to do everything for yourself. So when it comes to other people helping you, you feel a little uncomfortable with that. Or maybe you had experiences where if somebody did help you, you always felt like you owed them something, or you felt like it backfired, or maybe it was used against you. So now you're just in this energy of like, nope, like you don't need to do anything for me. I just want to keep the peace. Like it could be so many things. And I think a lot of this can be uh due to childhood, right? And due to what you were taught, due to what you were exposed to. But at the end of the day, as we always say on this podcast, it's our responsibility to choose different for ourselves. And we just want to give you guys all the tips and tricks about receiving because you can choose today, listening to this podcast, that from here on out, you are fully open and ready to receive. But we do have to go ahead and do some of that shadow work first and see, like, where is this coming from? And go ahead and change those perspectives so that you feel in your body, in your heart, in your soul that fuck yeah, you are worthy of receiving. Like, why wouldn't you be?
Period. I absolutely love what you said about like that worthy energy. Like, and I feel like that attracts more of feelings of worthiness. Like, I do deserve this. And when you are fully receiving something, you're in that whole energy of like, I'm worthy for it. So, yeah, I'm gonna allow to receive it. And it's so true. Like, it all stems from something. So, whether it's like, a people pleaser type background, which I know I totally like am still a recovering people pleaser. You want to like give to everyone. And then when it comes time to take for yourself, you're kind of like, whoa, like what? Like, what do I do with this? Um, and it can be like an uncomfortable feeling. And that's also where like the hyper independence comes in too, where you're like, like I'll just do it myself. It's fine. Like, thank you for offering, but like I'll do it myself because you don't want to like burden someone. And you get all these negative feelings and connotations that come with it that you just think that's how it is. They have to go out of their way for me and like they don't have to do that. I care about them and like how they're feeling more. So it's all like in that energy of just like, I'm not worthy of that, or I don't want to bother people, or something like that. Changing that narrative can be so, so important and like a great first step in like easing into the receiving part of it and just being like, no, like as me and Sammy were just saying, we've gotten to the habit of saying, I reject that thought or I reject that so that we're not manifesting any more of anything, any weird stuff or weird energy that we don't want our lives to mimic, right? So, this is a perfect example if you ever find yourself not receiving or like holding back or being like, no, I'll do it myself. Like, take a step back and be like, you know what? I reject that. I think I deserve a little help in that department, or I deserve this free gift, or I deserve something, like anything that it is that you're kind of like like immediately to, just take a step back and be like, you know what? I will receive it. And just like a double whammy there, it makes the other person feel good too when you're receiving. They feel like they are able to give you something and like give back to you. So it's just like, I don't know, an all-around good energy.
This episode is brought to you by Ebb and Flow, a yoga, meditation, and massage studio where wellness isn't just a routine, it's a ritual. Whether you're looking to melt into a soul soothing massage, and trust me, they're amazing, flow through an energizing hot yoga class, or quiet your mind with guided meditation, Ebb and Flow is the place to go deeper into relaxation, into movement, into yourself. So if you're in Asbury Park, New Jersey, or you're flying in just like me, treat yourself to the experience you deserve. Join the waitlist now at ebbandflownj.com and click the link in the show notes for more details. We cannot wait to see you there. Dude, I love that you just said that because as you were talking, I was kind of like writing down notes and I literally wrote, you're shutting off their abundance because they want to help you. So if you say no, it's actually going to disrespect them because this is their act of kindness. And, we all have love languages. This is definitely something that we've talked about on the podcast before. And some people genuinely love giving gifts. Like I know so many people that are like that. They love thinking about it. They love doing the shopping. They love doing the creative, like, what am I gonna get? What can I put together? Like Taylor, for example. I mean, she goes above and beyond for gifts. Like the party that you threw Tyler was like absolutely insane. And can you imagine if Tyler came to you and was just like, oh my God, this is the first birthday party anyone's thrown for me. Thanks. You would be so hurt and you'd be like, what? Like, I spent so much time, effort, and energy. So I really love that we're tying that into this ideology first thing, because I think a lot of times when you are a people pleaser or you do kind of struggle with receiving, it's because you care about other people so much and you're like, no, you have your hard work earned money, or no, I know that you have a lot on your plate, I don't want to take away from your time. But it's like if you care about them that much, then you're gonna let them care about you too.
So fucking true. And odds are, if you really think about it, if they're offering this service to you, it means that they want to do it. Like, I feel like very rarely, if never, do people offer something to you or, to help or something if they can't do it themselves or if they don't want to, and if they're doing that, then that's their own stuff to figure out. Like, why would you promise me something? Whatever. That's just like not how it is. So, it really is changing that narrative of like feeling bad as the first reaction and kind of like going in of like, oh my God, like that's too much. I can't receive that. Like that's way too much. You're putting that block on yourself from receiving like what you can receive. And I feel like it echoes within the universe of being like, okay, that's where the line is. Okay. Like that's what we'll give her up into that line because she's not ready to receive anything more than that. It makes so much sense. Sometimes we block our own blessings from coming in when we don't even realize it, and receiving is a huge part of that. What do you allow to flow into your life? And where's that scale? Like the flowing out, is that like up here? And then the flowing in that you receive is like all the way down here? Because I can see a problem with that, you know? There has to be the yin and yang of give and take also. And I think people sleep on how important that actually is in our lives.
100%. And that's why I love the idea of having exchanges, where it's like, oh my gosh, like you paid for my dinner. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cook you dinner the next time you come over. Or, oh my gosh, like you cooked the entire meal. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do the dishes, Like there's really small ways of receiving. And I think I kind of want to go into that direction of like, what are some things that we can receive? What does receiving look like? Because I think oftentimes when we think of receiving, it's super easy to think, oh, well, it's money, right? But that's not the only fucking form of currency in this world, okay? People's time, their energy, their attention, all of that should be fully valued, right? So, some of the ways that I've been working on receiving, because we actually came up with this podcast because I was telling Taylor, I was like, I'm moving next weekend, and I have so many friends that have been like, okay, I'm gonna help you. Like, I just literally got a text back from my best friend Clark, and he's like, "Yeah, I got nothing going on. Like Saturday, I'm good to go." It's like, thank you, Spirit. But I told Taylor, I was like, it's crazy. Like these people that are offering, they paid for movers. Like when it came to their own move, I was like, I know they're so busy, and I was like, I feel bad. Like, why am I struggling to receive this? Like, I feel bad about it. And she was like, well, one, because the last move you basically did alone, and you're also used to a cross country move, which is a lot more in every single way than just moving across the street like I currently am. And she was like, two, why are you feeling that way? Like, where is it coming from? And for me, I think it's just something I'm getting used to. Like, I'm definitely that hyper independent, like masculine woman. I was taught to be a strong, independent woman, to need no man. And I used to say that all the time. So it's not necessarily just that I was taught that, but I think that, like, in my work environments, like that was something we used to say all the time as a running joke, right? And it is a joke, but at the end of the day, like, yes, I would like want that support. I feel like saying that kind of like cut me off to any receptivity because it's like, well, men are great, like, and at that phase, I feel like I've definitely had an ideology of like men are trash, like they fucking suck, they're not going to show up for me. So, because that's all I knew, like my dad had left, and I had a lot of like just relationships that they didn't show up for me in the way that I wanted to, right? So I think that can be a really big block for you is if you've never really received before, you don't know how. And I think that's kind of like where I was in my life of like, like I've never intentionally allowed just so much support and so much help. So I was talking to her about the move, and I was like, I know it's going to be quick and easy. I know I don't have that much stuff, but why am I feeling so worried about it? Like, why am I feeling so stressed about it, So that's like one way that you can receive. Another way, and these are like more so like, oh my gosh, we're celebrating at this point because that was like me. Okay, we're doing the introspection of like, what do I need to work on in myself so that I can expand and actually receive this? Because I guess the move feels bigger than like this second thing that I'm going to talk about. So I'm so grateful because I actually manifested having a great weekend with all of my friends. And I did so many things. And I realized by the end of it, when I was like giving my money love, I just really was feeling a lot of gratitude because my aunt came to visit me and she paid for all of my meals. Girl, like literally every single meal, any like drink that I had out, which was like just Diet Coke, because I'm sober, but she paid for freaking all of it. And I was like, I actually asked her, I was like, can I send you some money? Like, can I send you something? And she was like, no, like, don't do that, Sammy. She was like, I wanted to. Don't even ask. Da, 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 da. And like, I felt so amazing. So it's like, that's another way too, is like, is people like covering you? Like when you go out, or like, do they not ask for gas money, but they drive you everywhere? Like, these are forms of receiving, and just having that love and having that in every capacity. There's so many capacities, you could go on and on, but like these are lately things that I'm like, okay, well, I feel like where Taylor was talking about with that max, like, well, I feel like super good. I've been working on receiving a lot, so I just learned this weekend, I was like, okay, like when it comes to like, they're buying me dinner or they're giving me a gift, I'm good with it. Why does moving feel like so much more? And I think it's just because for me, like, it feels like a lot for my own life. Like moving is a big change, even though like I'm so excited for it, but it's still a change, I love my home. So that might be another block with receiving too, is if you're not ready for that change, or what your life might look like because you've received what you wanted.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And it is such a big thing. So you're right. Maybe it is just like we're kind of associating it with like a big ask at the
Yeah.
same time. But again, it's like these people love you. And if it would make them also feel really good about helping you, easing any of that moving stress or anything like that, like they're gonna do it because they love and care about you. So it's really important also to switch the perspective in that way and to flip-flop the situation, maybe put yourself in their shoes and be like, well, if they were moving, and they needed help and I had time and I was available to them, absolutely I would help. And then think, how would that make you feel? It would fill you with joy and just to be able to have that energetic exchange. Because I love what you said, the point of it's not just money that is tough to receive or that can be received or anything like that. Like energy, attention, like these things are currency. Ready to elevate your mind, body, and soul? Lotus Lifts, founded by Sammy Roos, blends holistic healing, fitness, and energy work to help you feel your absolute best. Whether it's one-on-one coaching, movement-based healing in the Lotus Lifts Collective, or spiritual growth, Sammy's intuitive approach will guide you to balance and vitality for a happier and healthier life. I should know because I have been a Lotus babe for over a year now, and let me tell you, it has been like the best year of my life for my health. I have just been feeling amazing. So take it from me. All the details you need are going to be in her website. So check that out in the show notes to get started to transform your life with Lotus Lifts, where wellness meets awakening. Now, back to the episode. The love language really does tie into it because I realize with myself is like when I have someone's undivided attention, I am so, so grateful. Like maybe even more so than any gift I can get. I don't know what it is, but it ties into like who I am and how I am also. So like when I'm hanging out with people or someone one-on-one, I will not be on my phone. Unless they're on their phone and it's like quiet and we're doing our own thing, like best friends. Me and Sammy will hang out sometimes and we'll just be like in our own space, but together in our space, which I love. But if it's like a one-on-one dinner or a one-on-one hangout or catch up with a friend, it's like I value their time and their attention and their energy, and I value my own too. So I'm going to be fully present and in the moment with them. And that apparently these days is super hard to come by because, with technology and kids growing up being just like on their phones and their attention only being like scattered in certain places, but always being like right here also. I don't know. There's just something so beautiful to being super in someone's attention and just giving them all of you at that very moment in time. So, this can be a currency in any aspect. I remember when I was at a spiritual retreat last year, um, there was a beautiful activity that we did where we would go around the room, and this was after spending 3 days with the same group of people, and we're learning all about spirituality and like different aspects of it, and Reiki and energy work, and it was just so amazing. But by the last day, they had this activity that always stuck with me. And it was like you would go around and say one thing or one aspect that you wish you had about yourself or something that you're manifesting more of within yourself. Um, and my word was grace. And I was like, I want to give myself more grace and, more patience with myself. Sometimes I can get frustrated and be like, oh, why am I so hard on myself? And stuff like that. So after you would say your word, people would just, chime in kind of like popcorn style and say all of the things that they feel about you in terms of you being graceful. It was the most beautiful activity because these were strangers 4 days ago. And these people from the outside looking in and everything they've learned from you and just being in your energy, everyone was very highly sensitive in the energy way, would be saying all of these things that they felt about you. And first of all, it's so accurate because the whole point of the activity was to be like, you don't need any more of that because you have that within you and you are grace. So it was kind of that mirror of being like, you are grace, you have grace, and here are a couple ways that we have just met you, but we can already see that you are that. And it was so fucking beautiful. And the one girl said, I loved how much you allowed yourself to receive. And I can just picture it. I felt it. Like when you were in line with me the very first day and I offered you something, you hesitated and you said like, no, you have it, like it's fine. But then you allowed yourself to make me feel good, is what she said. You allowed yourself to receive from me and it made me feel good because we could have been going back and forth the whole day and we kind of like laughed about it. It was just the most beautiful activity and it will always stick with me. And I think, moving forward, if I do any type of workshop regarding receiving self-love or anything like that, I'm probably going to incorporate that activity because, or even retreats or anything in the future, if you want to take it. Like, it was just so funny that receiving came up in it because that was, at the time, the hardest thing for me.
No, I love it. I think this was such a beautiful example. And it just made me think about too how, we when we give these gifts or when we are able to help people in this way, like she said, like she's receiving so much joy from doing that. And isn't that the reason why we want to receive, right? Like at the end of the day, isn't everything that we do tied to an emotion? Like I know for me, being an online spiritual fitness coach, like it brings me so much joy and it brings me so much fulfillment because I feel like I'm actually pursuing a passion. I feel like I'm actually doing something. I'm helping people. I'm showing up in a way that I can be proud of. And isn't that the entire point? Like we just want to have these emotions. We want to feel these ways about ourselves. So it's really like I guess that's what we have to focus on the most is allowing our body and our nervous system and our mind, body, or I already said body, but like soul, just every part of us to be open to these feelings. I think that's maybe like the key point to this entire podcast in general is how comfortable are you feeling happy? How comfortable are you feeling financially free when there's extra money in your bank account and you're like, "Ooh, what can I do now?" Like, how comfortable do you feel with people helping you? Because that's really what it was. I was like, ooh, this is making me uncomfortable. And not in a bad way, but just in a way where I started to feel bad or I started to think. And I was like, oh, well, what if they don't show up? And I'm like, there we go with the self-sabotage. So it's really cool if you can have these conversations with yourself and catch yourself and ask these questions of like, well, how do I feel? Do I feel comfortable being happy? Do I feel comfortable being in a relationship and it being totally fine? Because I think especially kind of going back to the childhood trauma things, isn't there attachment styles too that really affect how much you receive as well? Because if you have like an attached attachment style, how are you ever really going to receive? Because you don't feel good unless you're like with that person? So you have to feel good within yourself or else you're just always going to feel like a piece is kind of missing? So I guess maybe that can be one of the major things that you guys think about when it comes to receiving is how can you give yourself, like Taylor was saying with this practice, everything that you want and everything that you really already are, you just haven't realized it yet. And how can you get more comfortable feeling the emotions that you're genuinely working so hard for? Like you want to be the CEO and the boss ass babe of a company because you want to feel empowered, right? You want to be financially free because you want to feel that freedom, feel like you can do anything, go anywhere. You want to be in love because you want to feel loved. But everything really starts with us. And the number one thing I've learned over my spiritual journey is it comes when you're already giving it to yourself. And if it hasn't come yet, it's just a little time for reflection of, okay, well, what can I be doing instead to tap into that version of me so that I am fully comfortable and open and ready to receive? Because once you are, like they say that we are source. So if God is giving us everything that we want, right? Like if money is from God, if He created everything, but we have a part of source in us, that means we get to give it to us. So, like, one ritual I kind of like to do is I like to tell myself that I gave myself a lot of money. I've been doing that lately, like having happy dances with money. And I'm like, thank you, babe. You gave me $50,000. Like, because like at the end of the day, you're giving yourself everything that you want. So if you're feeling like really lonely right now, like take yourself out on a date. Like if you feel like you need some like quality time with like a person, like go ask your best friend for a phone call. That's what Taylor said today. She was like, if you're feeling low, like literally just text somebody and be like, can you give me a little pick me up or I'm feeling this way? And again, that's opening up to receiving because you're asking somebody for help, which means you have to be willing to accept it.
Period. And you're never asking too much, also. Like the right people and the people that are in your life and should be in your life will not feel like it's too much if you're just asking for like a little help or a little positivity or a little wisdom or even a little support. Like if times are tough, everyone goes through waves of times, and it's like the people in your corner, you would want them to be that for you because you would be that for them. So it's not like an exchange in that way where it's like, I did something for you, so you have to do something for me. It's just the flow of like a healthy relationship is knowing that you have that. So absolutely. And the ones that love you and that care, they will go out of their way to probably do above and beyond to make you feel supported and just to make you feel better. And how can they help you and stuff like that. So I think a really good thing to just drill into everyone's head also is everyone is worthy of everything good that this life has to offer. Everyone. And sometimes it can get clouded, and sometimes you can forget that in life. Random things will happen, and you'll kind of question that a little bit. But the bottom line, and underneath it all, underneath everything, is everyone has the equal opportunity in that way to feel worthy within themselves. And like we said a billion times, in all different ways, we really are the mirror of our life, and the universe will show this to us. And it'll be like, whatever you're giving out, you're receiving. So, in one way or another, if you're giving out the worthiness feeling and the gratitude mixed with that, I feel like there's something with gratitude that kind of affirms, like, yes, thank you. I am open to receiving this, and thank you. And like Sammy says all the time, more please. Thank you, universe, more please. It's that energy. I'm telling you, like, all of it mixed together is like the perfect storm of just manifestation in itself. But just never forget how worthy you are just being on this planet, just being a human, being here during this exact time. You can have it all. Whatever you want, your desires, whatever it is, it can seem crazy to some people or seem normal. You are worthy of it. So go out there and fucking get it, queen. And even if it looks hard, like this is a muscle that you have to exercise sometimes, you know? Receiving can be a muscle that you exercise. Do it. Start with the smallest weight and receive a compliment and fully feel it. Don't be like, no, no, no. Be like, go on, girl. I know I'm that way, As we say, start small with a compliment if you have to, and then work your way up. Gifts. Thank you so much. I do fucking deserve this. Even if you don't want to say it out loud, say it in your head. But the more you learn to receive, the more you feel worthy, and that energy just like catapults and ripples into every aspect. So,
Dude, I love this. And I feel like, Taylor, that was such a great way to end it. Like, I can't even top that. Oh my God. I think we gave you guys a lot. This was a quickie, but it had a lot in it, a lot of value in it. I think it has a lot for you guys to talk about. So I'm excited. And I want you guys to, for your homework, this is going to be to listen to this back again, but ask yourself the questions as you go. So you've already listened to it once, right? So if that means that you have to like pause it, kind of take some time to reflect, but the first time when you listen to something, you get a ton of information all at once. But when you go multiple times and you come back, you're going to notice that maybe there was a breakthrough or like something you were like, this actually made me think. I didn't think about this the first time around. Or maybe you just have a different idea. Or maybe it's a confirmation of you felt something the first time and you're like, oh, this is a confirmation. This is what I want to work on. This is where I need to go. But I want you guys to kind of come at it from a little bit more of like you are checking up with yourself listening to this. Because, like we said, if you want to live your dream fucking life, get everything that you've ever wanted, it starts with receiving. Okay, so this is one of the most important things that you guys can work on because if you're not open to actually receiving the things that you want, they're never going to come in. So, just like everything, practice makes perfect. So we're just going to be practicing receiving, and that's going to be your homework.
that's the best homework. And you know what? I'm gonna do it with you guys. So
I'll literally be doing it moving this weekend. So we'll keep you guys updated next week with how it goes. And but you guys should comment below and give us updates like, oh my gosh, this is day one. And let us know, like, what are you receiving? Are you manifesting free dinners? Are you manifesting help from friends? Are you manifesting somebody buying your coffee from the car behind you? You know, like, what have you received? Because the more that you celebrate something, the more you're going to call it in, which is why we're like, thank you, universe, more please, because we're celebrating.
Fuck yeah. And I love being in that energy too. So thank you guys for listening. I know we have a lot of goodies in here. So like Sammy said, watch it again or listen to it again. And then in the meantime, we cannot wait to connect and talk with you guys next week. Sammy, where can they find you, girl?
Find me on all platforms. My first and last name, Sammy Roos _.
Period. And you know that we got that new handle on Instagram and YouTube and Spotify. So we are on Instagram. Hold that thought. Aligned Feminine Podcast. On YouTube and Spotify, literally just type in the Aligned Feminine. It's going to say Spiritual Baddie Mindset. That is us. If you want to follow me on my Melt Massage _NJ account, definitely do that also. And yeah, until next time, everyone, we love you.
Love you.
Bye.